Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, you're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. And I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Not here to save your soul. I'm here to save your business. Here to save your jobs. Here to save our community. And if you ever find yourself at a crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. And I am happy to be here. Happy to be your host. I'm a business developer by trade. I develop businesses. That's what I do for a living. People come to me and say, look, hey, Gatewood, they're trying to start a new business, or they may have a business already and they're trying to get it move a little better and get more customers and sales, or they may need some technology added, such as a website or social media, AI, things like that. So we are in the business development business. I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College here in the DC area, where I teach marketing and PR and digital marketing, networking, and social media. Been doing that for 25 years. I'm also a government contractor, working on state and federal level. Written a couple of books. You can get those by going to Amazon. And so I'm on a mission to help companies. And boy, do we need help now. Boy, do we need help now. We got an interesting show lined up today. We're going to talk about, I looked up yesterday and realized it was the holiday season has sneaked up on us. Can you believe that? We're at almost the end of October. Really, the season starts around the 1st of October. That's when people really start to get into that spirit. But the spirit has a little damper this year. People are kind of like, what should I expect? There's a lot of uncertainty and angst in the air. And for good reason. We're in the midst of a government shutdown. And that seems to be just wreaking havoc on many people's lives. People are not sure what the holiday is going to bring. And when the consumers can't spend, that means business owners suffer. And that's the real trickle down. When you have a government that's laying off 500,000 people or having them on furlough, not being paid, it's kind of hard to get into this Christmas spirit. Oh, Santa Claus and reindeers, that's the last thing on your mind. But what if you're a business owner and you expect to get about 60-70% of your revenue this time of year? That's a little cause for concern. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about things that you can do as a business owner this time of year when you're trying to maneuver a business in the midst of adversity and hardship. So we're going to talk about that. This is October. Just do a couple of observances. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we'd like to bring awareness to these challenges, let people know that there are resources out there and that we support you. It's a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. When I think about that, I think about my client, Mildred Muhammad. She's been a client of mine for many years. But she was featured on quite a few radio TV shows yesterday. She was on Fox. She was on Channel 9. I saw Wisdom Martin up there interviewing her. But she's doing the media rounds because there's a documentary coming out on October 28th, which is next Thursday, where she's going to be talking about a sniper and how she was hunted by this sniper. And a lot of people didn't understand that during that sniper incident back in a few years ago, that John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo was actually trying to shoot her and they were going to kill a lot of other folks in the midst of it to make it look like she was a random victim, when indeed John Muhammad was trying to get control of the kids. It was a bitter custody dispute, and she was a victim of domestic violence. So that documentary is going to be airing on October 28th. So much success to her. She's rebounding. She says that she had been healed. So that lets people know who are victims of domestic violence that there is a way out. There's support out here, there's resources, and that you can bounce back from this stronger than ever. We're going to talk about a few items in the news before we get to our sermon today on season's greetings in the midst of adversity and hardship. Let's see, if you were in the DC area, not just the DC area, on Monday, October 20th, there was a outage. AWS had an outage. That's Amazon Web Services. Started around 3 a.m. in the morning and went up to the afternoon. And so I heard the news, and matter of fact, a couple of people called me and said, "Hey, are you affected by this?" I'm like, "Well, no, I'm checking all my devices. Everything seems to be working." And so I go to log in that night to teach a course over at the college. I was doing a course on social media strategy. So I go to log in, and I get over to the web portal on the Prince George's Community College, and big sign came up. "You have been affected by the AWS outage." I couldn't log in to teach my course. So, of course, that was caused quite a bit of confusion, because the students trying to log in, and they're getting this message. So there's a couple of takeaways from this. First, these big companies, boy, they have a lot of power. Amazon, you think about books, right? And getting your Prime, your gifts and gadgets dropped off at your door. You don't think about them controlling the power grid. So we have a lot of power in a few hands, and when you have that kind of power, it's really something to be aware of. And the other story was AI. So this is a quick story. So when I realized I couldn't get into my account to do the Zoom on the college portal, I realized I could still use my personal Zoom. So I looked at the roster that my advisor had sent me. It had all the students' email addresses on it. We're talking about 20, 30 people. So who's going to take time to copy and type in 20, 30 email addresses? So I said, so nowadays, anytime something like that comes up, I said, can AI make this better? So I took the entire roster, copied it, pasted in ChatGPT, and said, isolate the email addresses and put a comma behind them and output that into a document. Took about 2 seconds. So I was able to copy all 30 email addresses, pop them into an email, send them out to the students. Boom. Class went on. So there's a quick AI lesson in this. A lot of people are very reluctant and hesitant about using AI. And when you think about AI and some of the bad things it can do, it's really understandable. But some of the mundane tasks that you're beating your head on the wall and scratching your head and saying, how can I do this? Don't let that's going to hurt you. I hate to say it. And I'm not a big AI. I'm not selling AI. I'm just saying, start looking at AI as technology. And maybe it'll sound a little less foreboding. And that's all it is. It's a tool. It's a technology tool. When we see AI, we think of the worst of AI, but you're using AI anyway. Anytime you type it into a document, you get autocomplete. You go to these websites, and these chat bots pop up and ask you questions. AI is already in your daily lives. So my question or my suggestion is, like I tell people about social media, use AI and not let it use you. That's been my mantra for social media. I had a lot of folks who were very recalcitrant about using social media. And I beat that drum for many years. Use social media, but don't let it use you. So it's the same. So let it take care of some of these mundane tasks so you don't get left behind, because your competition is using them. I'm telling you. They're not sitting there spending hours on something that could take 2 minutes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, another piece of news. Oh man, we talked about it briefly, but I'm going to repeat it again. We are in the midst of a government shutdown. It has hit day, I think, like 24, and already it's the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Started on October 1st, and the Senate adjourned on October 23rd until Monday, October 27th, without taking a vote to fund the government. They did pass a measure. They voted on a measure that would cause they called the Shutdown Fairness Act that would have paid the federal workers. And of course that failed. And the Senate is expected to vote again on Monday for their 13th attempt to end this shutdown. I have clients right now. Matter of fact, I had a client talk to a few days ago. She's a CPA, works for the federal government. She's trying to find the exit door. And I know quite a few other people who are, they're in a funny way. They said, well, we're going to get paid eventually, but it's the anxiety, the stress, the uncertainty, and it zaps your psychic energy that you need to survive and thrive as a business owner. But thank goodness, some of the government work is continuing. Just found out today that not all of the government services have been stopped. Some things, our government continues to thrive, survive, because I just found out that the White House is being demolished. The East Wing has been demolished, and we're going to put up a gold-plated ballroom at the expense of about $300 million. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. So we have about 500,000 people not working. Many have been furloughed. There's also attempts to permanently displace some of the people who are on furlough. We've seen the displacement in the last few months of about 300,000 Black workers, primarily female. But the elaborate ballroom construction continues. There's so many things wrong with that. It boggles the imagination. The optics of that. You having an elaborate, effusive, opulent ballroom being constructed in the White House, which is supposed to be the people's house, at the expense of $300 million while people are out of work, while the economy is going down. Now, of course, the stock market is going up because the people that have money tend to do well during bad times. And of course, the president says it's going to be paid for by private donors. And people have already lined up to pop in their money. Amazon, Google, Meta, Lockheed Martin. They've already shipped in about $200 million. But even that in itself, you don't pay that kind of money unless you're expecting some kind of favor. So this is cronyism. This is grift. This is everything that's wrong about government and the person who's in the White House in particular. Now, that's just the beginning of it. I mean, I'm not a construction expert, but I do know things about projects. I do know things or two about big projects. When you have a project that size, there's always cost overruns. And then are we going to be preserving the historical nature of some of the things that are already in the White House? Regulatory rules tend to be trampled. Structural engineering complexities. There's all kind of things that can go wrong, not to mention the public perception. That's the big one. And of course, once you get something that big, there's even more maintenance money. So the $300 million is just the beginning. Anyway, this is the country we live in right now. But I'm saying we're here to keep our heads up because we're going to be all right if we pull together, network, support each other, reach out to somebody who you know is being impacted by some of these wrong-headed decisions that are taking place. Support them. And we're going to talk about that more when we get to our how to survive season greetings in the midst of adversity. Another news story, Target has cut 1,800 jobs in the first big layoff in a decade. No surprise there. What's that word? FAFO. Of course, Target was one of the companies that dished its DEI initiatives back in January at the urging of the president. There was a boycott that resulted. I mean, this was probably the most sustained and impactful boycott since the Montgomery bus boycott back around early 1960s. I mean, people I know still not going to Target. I haven't been to Target since it started. I wasn't a big fan in the beginning, but I just can't go in there. It's like, you know how some company get branded and you just can't shake it. I mean, people still don't go to Denny's. What was that, 50 years ago? When they had some incident that shook people, Denny's still has that mark. So 1,800 people. Now that's the downside also when we have these boycotts and these layoffs. Our people get hurt too. Yes. Sometimes that's the cost. But hopefully these companies will eventually shake off some of this bending up the knee once they realize that it's going to hurt their bottom line. Another story, healthcare is embracing AI faster than the wider economy. I thought it was kind of interesting that AI is outpacing, healthcare is outpacing some of the other industries when it comes to the use of AI. There a robot examining you now. Well, it's not quite as bad as it seems. When you read that headline, you start thinking, man, I'm scared to go to the doctor now because there's AI behind that curtain or putting me on that table. Well, it's doing things like I mentioned earlier. It's not actually in doing hopefully not the hands-on work, but it's doing things like diagnostics and imaging, predictive analysis, early warning devices, detection, a lot of administration and workflow, things like that. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to healthcare. So I'm hoping that the level of care and some of the personal nature of care will not be too adversely impacted. But like many other industries, healthcare is jumping on the AI bandwagon with both feet. And I'm going to ask you also to take a look at some of your routine tasks, some of the things you just really hate to do. Hate to do that. Hate to write content for my social media posts. I hate doing scheduling. I hate strategy. I'm telling you, there's help out there for you small business owners. You have one more chance, opportunity to level this playing field. Don't let the big guys get all the marbles while you're over here complaining. I'm just saying, let's do this. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in a minute and talk about smart holiday strategies for entrepreneurs in a tough economy. You want to listen to this. particularly if you're a small business owner, or if you know someone, or if you're about to go into business. And that's what this show has been over the years. It's been a good resource for the everyday entrepreneur, small business owners, the gig economy people. This show is not for the Bezos of the world and the Oprahs and people like that. They're going to be all right. Now, I think what makes myself uniquely qualified, practically all of the advice that I give, I've either taken advantage of it myself or some of my clients have had good results from it. So I'm not putting anybody in a test tube. I've been doing marketing now for over 30 years as an entrepreneur. And I've had some amazing success stories. And that's not to brag, but I'm just saying I can be one more resource among your many resources when you're looking for answers and solutions to some of these challenges out here. So tune your dial here every Friday at 10:30 and share this information with others. So I'll be back in a minute. Let's talk about this holiday hardships. This is Marketing Pulpit. I'll be back in a second. I'm back. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Not here to save your soul. I'm here to save your business. Just a quick bit of advice. I teach courses at the Prince George's Community College in the DC area. And it's part of my greater mission. I was having a conversation with one of my clients yesterday. And the thing I kept emphasizing to him was that it's hard to stay focused as a small company because there's so many things pulling you in so many different directions. And you can get distracted. You can jump off your course. You can jump off your mission, your purpose. So what I emphasize when I say things like I'm going to be teaching at the college, you hear me talking about the government contracts, the books and things like that I've written, is to let people know that get on a purpose, a course, a mission. My mission is to assist and help small companies, small businesses start and grow. And everything I do ties into that mission. So when you're being distracted and pulled in 100 different directions, somebody's gonna come along and ask you, hey, take a look at this opportunity. Ask yourself, is it aligned with your mission? And sometimes you can make it align when you start differentiating between a means and the end. The means is how you get things done. The end is the objective. So when somebody comes along to me and say, hey, look, have you looked at AI? That doesn't mean I'm going to drop my purpose and my mission of helping small businesses. What I would do is look at AI as a tool, as a means to help me achieve that end of helping small businesses. So that's one way you can frame these opportunities, these new shiny objects and gadgets that will be pulling at you as a business owner. You don't want to go in the hole and spend all your money on things that are unproven, that's going to take you off track. But run it through the filter of your purpose. And that'll help guide you in making some of those decisions. Let's talk about smart holiday strategies for the entrepreneurs in a tough economy. Usually it's a time of joy and generosity, but when the economy is tight, people stop spending, people are unsure what tomorrow holds. You can see slower sales, cautious customers, people tightening up on their purses, cash flow drops. But it's also an opportunity. I'll be the first one to say, that during the pandemic, which really went into high gear around 2019, 2020, I was one of those cautious people. I was very anxious. But what I found out, it was also a gold mine of opportunity. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time because people were trying to uh, change their business model from in-person meetings to using technology. I just happened to be in the technology field, so it was an opportunity for me. Now I could have gone into a corner and said, "Hey, let me just ball up into a ball and cry," but you have to look at these hardships, these tough times, as opportunities. And sometimes you have to refashion. You have to do some branding things and maybe get some technology and do things a little differently. But it's not a time to throw up your hands. So the first bit of advice I'm going to say this time of year, as we go into this season and we're facing some of these adversities, is to focus on value and not so much on volume. Your volume may indeed drop. So look at maybe providing people more value this time. That's going to do quite a few things. It's going to help your brand. It's going to help your goodwill. It's going to help your company look like it's still out here doing things. So you might look at some of the rephrasing your offerings as a problem solving a problem rather than a luxury, because people are going to be running away from things that look like you're spending money on superfluous things. So you have to emphasize the value of what you're offering, how it's going to help them. So you might look at your messaging this time of year is how can we help you get through this tough time? So you focus on the value. Another thing you need to do this time of year, you should be doing this 24/7, but 365, but it's a great time to do it this time of year, particularly going into the holiday season and during these adverse times, is to nurture your existing relationships. I cannot say this enough times. Put a star beside this and bold it, highlight it with your yellow pen, circle it. Reach out personally. Write an email, pick up the phone, but do it in a way where you're not asking. Do it in a way that you're offering. Invoke the spirit of reciprocity. How are you doing, Fred, during this time? Anything I can do? Now, you might not be able to write them a check. You might not even buy what they're offering, but you might be able to refer people to them. You might be able to partner with them, collaborate with them. Sometimes that emotional support is all that's necessary. So reach out to people also if you have some people that are really some of your outstanding customers. You might reward them this time of year with some type of special offer or loyalty reward. And so this time of year, sales is always one of your goals, but this time you might focus on gaining trust over sales. Because like I said, people are emotional, they're looking for answers, they're looking for support. And they're not looking to somebody to be putting a fast move on them to sell them something that they may not want. So focus on trust versus trying to get a quick sale. Another bit of advice is focus on content this time of year. Now, I know this is a slow road. And like I said, I hope you've got your cash flow. We'll talk about that next. But you just can't get, water from a rock. If they're not spending, if they don't have it, they don't have it, period. So you can't just say, okay, well, what am I going to do? So content simply means you start sharing tips, giving advice, encouragement, success stories, running small micro campaigns, showing the human side of your operation. Because authenticity needs to shine through this time of year. They want to see authenticity when they're stressed. They want to feel that you are a trusted source You're somebody they can lean on because they're going to remember you when the times get good. Again, let's talk about cash flow. Now, if you've been listening to any of my other shows, I've always emphasized the importance of having a contingency plan. That means don't spend all your money right up until the last dollar. Maybe hold about 10 to 15% back. Well, if you haven't done that, well, at least now start looking back and look forward now to January and February. Start looking at your cash flow needs now for the next 3 to 4 months. And hopefully you have a little nest egg put away right now. Well, if you don't, then start looking at ways so you can cut back on some of the spending requirements for the next month or two. Renegotiate leases, maybe give people more flexible payments. If they owe you $1,000 and you know they don't have $1,000, you might say, look, can you give me half? Let's do the other half when the furlough ends or something. But you got to find ways to get the cash, keep the cash going. Okay. You want to protect your liquidity because cash, especially during these lean times, is going to be the fuel to get you through this. And so I'm also going to say, looking forward to the next time. Go ahead now and start building your cash reserves. Let's not wait till the next pandemic or the next furlough. Get that cash, get that credit. And when I say credit, I mean business type credit, not debt, but credit. That means unused credit. Get that credit card, that $2,500 here, that $3,000 credit card here, and don't spend it on superfluous things because that unused credit is going to help bank your cash flow and it's going to actually improve your credit score as well. Now, if your business is one of those that are struggling, what you might do is there's some people that actually want to help you. So you have to give them instructions on ways that they can help. Just tell them what they can do. Look, hey, buy my book, buy my gift cards, other ways that just let people know how you can help. This is also a good time to reset and realign during these slow periods. You got time now if the phones aren't ringing. Reassess what your ideal client looks like. You may have thought it was one. Now you may realize later on that it's somebody else. You might look into building your skills. Like I said earlier, it's AI. Take a course, go online. Try ChatGPT. Just download the free version, chatgpt.com. It's going to blow your mind the first time you use it. That may allow you to expand your operations, cut back on some of your overhead, and help that cash flow. These economic downturns, I've been around for quite a few seasons. They do tend to end. We saw the pandemic end. We saw the previous shutdown end. But the people who plant seeds now are going to be among the first to bloom when it's over. So keep the spirit. Look at your brand. Be authentic. Embrace reciprocity. Reach out to people in your base. See if you can help them. And when you hand it out, it does come back. And that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you again for joining the show this morning. We'll be back next week here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. And if you ever find yourself at a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, you can go back to YouTube, go to marketingpulpit.com and just comb through some of the shows. Just put in a topic and you'll find some good conversation and information. Check out some of our guests. And we'll be having some guests coming up soon on the show. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I am Robert Gatewood, business developer. And if you ever find yourself at a business crossroads, turn right here. And if you want to be successful, do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you must do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.